Hello everyone and welcome back to my Star Citizen channel. Patch 4.5 has left the wave phases and is now available in OpenPTU for all players. We now have access to the current values for the upcoming engineering gameplay and the revised damage model. Important disclaimer, before we dive into the numbers, none of this is set in stone. Balancing is an ongoing iterative process. CIG is still looking for the perfect middle ground for armor values and weapon damage. We are looking at the snapshot here and it's very likely we will see further adjustments in the coming days. In this video we will take an objective look at the current state. The armor modifier has been fixed, shield values have been drastically corrected and CIG has made fundamental changes to logistics for capital ships, or let's say also for larger ships. We will also analyze the tactical differences between ballistic and energy weapons. Let's start with the technical foundation. After several adjustments, the armor resistance modifier has settled at 0.85 in the current build. Technically, this means a ballistic projectile loses 15% of its damage potential when penetrating armor. A frequently discussed point in the community is the relationship to energy weapons. The data shows a damage modifier of 1.3 against ship hulls once shields are down. Mathematically, that's a certain percentage of bonus for energy weapons. However, when you look at this in the overall tactical context, a more nuanced picture emerges. First, capacitor management. Energy weapons drain the weapon capacitor, ballistic weapons don't. They require no energy from the ship systems. Pilots flying ballistic can redirect all freed up energy to shields or thrusters. That increases both defensive resilience and mobility. Second, the penetration. While energy weapons must completely neutralize shields to damage the hull, ballistic projectiles immediately penetrate shields to some degree. Internal components can already take damage or fail while the target's shields are still active. Parallel to the weapon adjustments, CIG made a significant correction to shield values. Compared to previous PTU builds, capacities for nearly all ships were increased by approximately 200%. According to the patch notes, the goal is to align shield strength with weapon damage from patch 4.4, thereby extending time to kill again. This adjustment is particularly evident in larger classes like the RSI Perseus. In earlier iterations, its defensive values were often criticized as too low for its class. With the tripling, or let's say nearly tripling of shield values, the Perseus now positions itself much more robustly. We are seeing similar adjustments on the C2 Hercules and Corsair. Shield values between 50,000 and nearly 100,000 points are now standard. One oddity remains: light fighters like the Arrow or for example Perseus don't show this massive increase in the current data tables yet. Whether this is an intentional design decision or separate roles between fighters and multi-crew ships, or whether a technical update is still pending, remains to be seen. In the engineering area, the current patch has implemented specific mechanics for fuses and system failures. An important change: when your fuse blows or is removed, it no longer necessarily leads to immediate total failure. Instead, the system now uses a brownout mechanic. The affected system loses so-called power pips, performance segments. The component continues to work but with reduced efficiency. This can manifest as slower shield regeneration or sluggish turret movement, for example. At the same time, fuse sensitivity has been massively increased. The damage multiplier in the current build is 900%. This suggests that wear and replacement of fuses during combat will be central, frequent task for the crew. A sufficient stock of spare fuses in inventory will become standard procedure. One of the most far-reaching changes affects logistics, particularly for owners of capital ships or large ships like the Polaris, Hammerhead or Carrack. The patch notes define a clear separation in maintainability. While size 1 and 2 components can still be manually swapped during fight, this no longer applies to size 3 and up. The notes explicitly state these large components can only be repaired or replaced at the station, docked at the station. The consequence for deep space gameplay: should a main system like the shield generator of a Polaris be completely destroyed, repair in the field with onboard resources is no longer possible. The ship must reach a port or be towed. Logistical dependence on bases increases significantly. The Inside Star Citizen format provided further insights into the design philosophy. Lead designer Thorsten made it clear the engineering system primarily serves to extend the ship's lifetime extension rather than just creating workload. The confirmation about fire probability is interesting. Energy weapons have a significantly higher chance of triggering fires inside ships than ballistic weapons. This fits the picture. Ballistics focus on physical damage and direct system failures through penetration. Energy weapons additionally create thermal stress and force the crew into firefighting. Personnel are pulled from combat stations. A technical detail currently being discussed, so-called venting, depressurizing the ship to remove smoke. Since doors automatically close when locked, there is currently no way to lock doors in an open state. According to community feedback, this would still be necessary for effective venting tactics. Finally, a specific update on the RSI Perseus, as this ship received various adjustments in the last patch cycle. In addition to the already mentioned tripling of shield values, offensive parameters were also adjusted. Main gun projectile velocity is now 900 meters per second. It has now an improved turn rate, a reduced weapon spread. The ship is now approaching the performance values intended for its class. Before we get to the conclusion, I checked in with our community Discord. The mood at the grassroots level is extremely interesting and confirms exactly my previous analysis. Point 1. The weapons meta discussion. We had a long debate about lasers versus ballistics. As I wrote in chat, if you fly ballistics, you have energy for shields and engines. Without energy, your fight is over, no matter how strong your laser is. That's exactly what's crystallizing as consensus. The future probably lies in mixed wings. One breaks shields with lasers, the wingman uses the energy freedom of ballistics for maneuvers and the kill. Point 2. Fear of the repair simulator. There are concerns about the new logistics. A common sentiment: do we have constantly fly to hangars now? Since components wear out and large parts can no longer be repaired in space. Some fear the game is turning too much into work. The concern is legitimate. More time in the hangar than in space, just to keep the ship running. And point 3, bugs and inventory frustration. A very acute topic in the current PTU, disappearing items. Several people reported in Discord that armor or helmets simply sink into the floor when equipping or unequipping. That's particularly annoying when you have just geared up expensively. So be careful when changing clothes in the current patch. And keep in mind it's just a PTU for now. Point 4, looking to the future, crafting and NPCs. The discussion went even deeper into economy. Many players are sitting on millions of credits and don't know what to do with them. Hope lies massively on the upcoming crafting and base building. But, and I found this very interesting, my Discord community is extremely skeptical about NPC crews. Many don't believe we will see soon functioning NPCs that put out fires or repair. And with soon, I mean for years. The assumption CIG will push us towards automation like PDCs or drones to compensate for personnel shortage on ships like the Kraken or Idris. And exactly on this huge topic complex, NPC crews, automation and how we will crew our ships in the future, I am currently working on a separate, very detailed video. The topic is so massive that it would exceed the scope here. I'm deep in research, so it will take a bit longer, but something big is coming your way. Best to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. With the launch of OpenPTU, patch 4.5 presents itself with a defined but still provisional parameters. We are seeing a clear tactical separation between weapon types, a return to strong shields as primary defense, and an engineering system that becomes more complex through brownouts and logistical restrictions for large components. How do you evaluate this logistical separation of component sizes for long-term gameplay? Feel free to discuss objectively in the comments, and yeah, thanks for watching, fly safe, and until the next update.